Good morning, everybody. My name is Deborah Byrne from Deborah Byrne Psychology Services, known across social media as DBpsychology. And this morning I'm going to talk about this week's blog, which is all about emotional and mental health decluttering. Most of you will have heard of physical decluttering because there's a big, I think it's at the start of the year. There's always a big hype on, to declutter and, get your goals in order and things like that. And there's lots of videos out there to help you do that. And I won't be talking about any of that this morning, although physical decluttering will help your mental and emotional health. I have to say, I would recommend it. And I'd recommend that you start very, very small, because there can be an awful lot of emotions attached to items, even the silliest little things that other people wouldn't dream of thinking there could be anything emotionally attached to it, but there can be so much emotion attached to physical items we keep in our space. So I have about 15 tips on how you can help declutter your emotions and your mental health. Now, as I said at in the blog, think about maybe setting yourself a challenge. Maybe do one a week or one a month. You take time to do, and you may want to. I wouldn't try doing 15 in 15 days. I think that would be too crazy, because you need to give yourself time to think and to review. And some of them might bring up some emotion, and you might really need to give them a lot of thought and effort. That's what I would recommend. So one a week, I would say, would be enough. And if you were going to do the challenge, and just go for it. So what are they? What are the 15 tips I've given you? Well, the first one is setting personal policies. This is another way of saying setting personal boundaries. And it's about, I think it might even go a bit deeper than setting your boundaries, because I talk about, setting your wants, your needs, your desires, and everything that you want, and how to say no. And to distinguish between saying no, because sometimes when we say no, we hem and haw maybe about certain things, and then there's your red flags, which are basically a no, absolutely no, not happening, you're gone, you're out of my life, or this is not happening, I will not tolerate this. They're red flags. And then you have to distinguish that between things you might say no to, which would be maybe no this time, but maybe we'll think about it later. And being able to say that, being able to say no, because people have problems with saying no. And I'll come back to that in a little bit. So on that section there, I do have questions you can ask yourself. So I do say get a journal, get a specific journal for doing this challenge. If you're going to do it as a challenge, get the journal and write down the answers. Maybe even divide the journal up into 15 sections and take it one step at a time, so that you can go back and review, because this isn't something you do one off and that's it, it's gone. This is something you do on a regular basis, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. It depends. Maybe you do it once a month. Some of the techniques I give you, you might do them every week. I will suggest some of them that you do them every week. So if you are having difficulty in saying no, what I say to people is, get a phrase into your head, and what you say to people is, let me think about it and get back to you. And keep saying that. If these are people that are coming up to you and they just will not take no for an answer, just keep pushing them back. And even if you have to put your hand up with a stop sign going no, say, just let me think about that. Just let me think about that. I'll get back to you. Just let me think about it. And keep repeating yourself until they basically go, okay. They will eventually say okay and walk away. Because you're not saying no to them. You're telling them, I'm going to think about it and I will come back to you. Now, the next step will be actually to go back to them. And if it's somebody you can't say no to their face, you can't say no, a quick phone call, and I mean a very quick phone call, where you pick up the phone and you say to them, no, I can't do that, I'm sorry, and hang up. Okay? Just hang up. All right? Don't let them take control of the conversation. Don't let them take control of the conversation. And sometimes when you ring people, you can get them, you can get them off balance. So you can say no to them very quickly and go, I'm really sorry about that. I can't. No, I'm sorry. I'm not available. No, I can't do that for you. No. Remember, no is a full sentence and a full statement. It requires no explanation. Okay. Now, in setting the personal boundaries, the whole idea of the personal boundaries is to review your current situation. That's what I go on to talk about next in that section, is to say, you've reviewed your personal policies. You've got them down in place. You know what you want in your life. You know what you want to say no to in your life. And then you use them to review your current situation. And that's why I say to you, some of these are going to be very quick, and some of them you need to take at least a week to do. At least a week, even one a month would, for some of them, maybe, and to think about doing this on a regular basis, to think about, reminding yourself of these policies that you have, and then reviewing your current situation, because you will slip. We all do it. We slip into a situation and then we find ourselves becoming resentful and hurt and, all the things that we said we would never go back to doing again. And it's usually because these personal policies have been infringed upon. Our boundaries have been infringed upon. So we need to remind ourselves, no, this is my policy and this is what I want to do. And then go and, review our current situation with them. The next one I'm going to talk about is deciding what you care and what you don't care about. Now, this is a way of getting things out of your head and saying to your brain, you don't have to worry about these. You don't have to think about these. In fact, we're not going to bother about them. So before you panic, I do say, you're just telling your brain, don't bother thinking about them now, but you can still go back to them. There is another list, and I'll come to it, and that's we never go back there again list. So just think about, these are the, what do I care about? What do I don't care about? So these could be things like places, people, things, ideologies, theologies, social media, things on social media. You're not going to look at them. You're just going to stop looking at them. You're going to not care about them. You're not going to think about them. They don't come into your world at this moment in time. And maybe in the future, you'll go back and review them. So if you can write a list of those, it really will help. What that does is it frees up your mental space. It frees up what's going on up here, and it allows you then to focus on other things that are of more importance to you. So remember, I said it's not just about the don't care list, but it is about the care list as well. What you want to care about. So you're bringing your focus then onto what you care about, and you're deleting, even just for the moment, the things you don't care about. The next thing would be to evaluate your commitments. Now, this is commitments to everything, everything in your life. You're going to have to, maybe do the wheel and go around and go relationships, health, finances, everything. So you're going to, work, friendships, the whole lot. And to do that, you can do a review of your priorities, which I have a free handout on. It's on the blog. So then you have to say to yourself, well, do these, when you review them and you list them out, you go, well, do they help me? Do they fit into my life now? Or have they, outlived their usefulness? Are they in line with what I want and need in my life? Do they cause me harm? Are some of these commitments causing me harm mentally? It doesn't have to be physically. Is it emotional harm they're causing me? Or are they things that, are bringing me joy and happiness and are positive to me? And if they are, then you keep those ones and you let all the other things go. So this might be an exercise you can do very quickly, but then again, you might have to think about everything you have to do. So maybe keeping a record in a diary of, in a planner to say, well, what am I actually committing to doing every single day? And keeping a record of it for 1 or 2 weeks and then reviewing it. The next thing would be to identify your negative beliefs, and I would say to you, I have an absolute, I have a great blog on that, so go have a look at it. It's extremely important that we begin to identify our negative beliefs about ourselves and to review them and to see who gave those to us in the first place. And they'll always have come from somewhere else. They'll always come from, even implied expectations from our family and things like that. They may not have been things that were said, but they were implied. So reviewing those and getting rid of them, because they're, if they're negative, they're not serving a purpose. They are only bringing you down emotionally and mentally, and probably physically. It's time to let them go. So do have a check out the blog on that, on negative beliefs. And the next one too, there's a blog, I have done it, and I've done a Facebook Live on it, is on gratitude. Gratitude is one of the quickest ways to uplift your mental health, and it lasts longer. I mean, studies have shown that it's very quick at improving people's mental health and emotional health, and it also lasts much longer than any other technique. So beginning to practice gratitude, and I go into a little bit of detail in this week's blog, but there is a full complete blog and a video to go and talk about gratitude. So do check it out. Now, we've talked about goals as well. And in this, I say about decluttering your goals is to cut it down to one. Now, when I say that, I'm saying don't panic. You're not getting rid of all your goals. What you're doing is making a list of all your goals and then keeping them. It's kind of like a master list of all the goals you want, the things you want to achieve or do or participate in or whatever that's going to be a goal for you. But try and only bring it down to one. Prioritize one. Okay, there could be a couple of small things you might want to do, but prioritizing one means we're focusing, we're giving it more attention. Remember, you're trying to declutter your mind. You're trying to declutter that mental and emotional space. So you're focusing, you're bringing all your attention to that one goal. And if it's too big, if the goal is too big, reduce it down and talk about, bring it back down to, smaller, manageable baby steps. And why I say that is, if you get the manageable baby steps, it'll give you a boost in your mental health will get a boost because you'll have achieved it. Your self-confidence will rise because you're ticking off the box and you're achieving what you wanted to do. And it's building towards that bigger goal. And you're going to get there, particularly when you start ticking off the boxes and see how far you've come in that goal, towards that larger goal. And you're able then, when you're so focused down, you're able to give it the attention it deserves. You're able to complete it much quicker. You're able to put all the emotion that you would have given and all the mental acuity and things like that all out to other things you would have been trying to go from here to there to other, where you bring it back down. You're simplifying it. Absolutely must be simplified. Now, the next thing I would do, and this is something I recommend that you do at least once a week. That's the minimum once a week. I prefer if you did it every night, is to do a brain dump. When we do a brain dump, we just get everything out of our head onto paper. We could start off with our to-do list for tomorrow. We could then write down everything, get all the emotion of the day out, get everything out of your head, and as much as possible, get it out, because what that does is it tells the brain you can have a rest now. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about a solution while I'm trying to sleep. Because if you do, you're going to get broken night's sleep. It's going to be disastrous. Your stress levels will go up, etc. So, if you want to improve your sleep, reduce your stress levels, I highly recommend this. Brain dumping every night, getting it all out, getting your to-do list down for the next day, setting it out and doing it before you go to bed. That way, you're giving that signal to your brain, you can have a rest now. It's time for you just to take it easy and not be coming up, because that's what will happen. Your brain decides, okay, you're resting now. It doesn't have to look after your physical body as much as it did during the day. So your brain then becomes more active in trying to problem solve. So, what you want to do is get that to key down and get that to relax more. And, so brain dumping will help that. You can tie that one in with, evaluating your commitments, reevaluating your priorities and things like that. And also the next point, which is to do a continual stop list. A continual stop list is something that we actually, this is the one where you put things on that list and they're never coming back into your life. You've decided that's it, they're gone. And why I say it's a continual stop list, it's something you will keep for the rest of your life. You will add things to it down the years, and you will say, never doing that again. Don't want to do that again. I don't want to keep that in my life. I'm letting it go, and I'm letting it go once and for all. So it's different from the other list I talked about earlier, where things can be parked and then you'll go back and review it, and you'll decide whether you want to think about it now, or you want to put some effort and emotion and mental, you want to put yourself in there. You want to give it some thought and energy. Give it some energy to it. This list has no energy attached to it. It is let go. There's going to be no more thinking about it. You've made a decision, and that's it. So it's a continual stop list, and it does, again, it's freeing up it's freeing up what's going on up here. It's freeing up your thinking. It's freeing up your time. It's freeing up your emotions. You're not giving these silly things, that you've decided, these things that are of no more value, no more use to you. You're not giving them any emotion, and you're not giving them any mental processing to them anymore. And then that brings me down to one, which is simplify your to-do list. And again, to the brain jumping and doing your, you're having your one goal and then doing your nightly to-do list. Simplifying the list means that you prioritize one thing there for the next day. You can have 2, 3, maybe 4 maximum smaller things that you're going to do that you want to get done, maybe things you have to do. But it's that one step that you're going to take towards a goal. That's what would be your priority. That would be the one priority. Having like a load of priorities is not good, because you're probably going to what happens there, you're going to over prioritize yourself. Everything's going to get over prioritized. Your list will get bigger. You're going to be running around. But if you prioritize just one thing and maybe have 2 to 4 smaller things in place, that leaves room for the emergencies. That leaves room for other things that maybe something comes up and you think, oh, I have time to do that now. We all have that continual to-do list, things we want to get done this week or things we want to get done this month. It leaves room for you to do that. But it also means that if all you get done is that one priority, then your brain realizes that you've achieved something today. Okay, that will boost your emotional and mental health will get boosted by that. Okay, because you've ticked off the box. You basically ticked off the box. Now, number 10 on the list would be having a self-care day every week. Now, I know people are going to shoot me. Okay. Some people will not have time for this, and I'm very aware of that. Particularly, and I say this particularly if you have children, or if you are somebody's carer, you will not have time for this. I do realize that. You won't be able to give yourself a whole day of just some, focusing on things you really love to do, and some one-to-one time just for yourself. So try and get at least an hour, even if it is broken up into half-hour slots, or try and get some time during the week for yourself. Ask for help and get that help. You need it. You need that time off. Okay. You need a minimum of 1 hour time off, if not more. I've spoken about this for parents. That parents need, studies are showing 20 minutes a day, at least 20 minutes a day for themselves, and then more at the weekends. But, if you get at least an hour and half an hour, and as your kids get bigger, or maybe more help comes into play for you, that you would, take a little bit longer, maybe half a day, and then push it up to a day. Now, when I say a day, that doesn't mean you go to the spa every week, okay? You can create your own home spa. If that's what your thing is, you can go and do that. By all means, do that sort of thing. But, it means maybe you have a hobby that you want to focus on. You have, you want to meet up with friends. You want to, do a social gathering. It's more relaxed type of thing. Things that are relaxing. You want to head out for a walk. You want to then, have a leisurely bath. It's things that are going to improve your relaxation, and make sure that you have time just for you. If it's to sit and read a book for an hour, that's what it is. It's to watch your favorite TV show. You line it up and you only watch it on that day of the week. That's what it is. But if you can get a day to yourself, that would be brilliant. I know that maybe isn't realistic for some people, but we have to make our self-care a priority. If we don't, we crash and burn. It's very simple. We crash out, we burn eventually. You may think that I'm doing fine, I'm okay, but eventually you will crash out. Maybe on the days that you're doing your self-care, maybe you have to take it back to the basics of self-care. And I have a list of what I consider the very minimal basics of self-care. I have a free list up there people can print off and they can do. But maybe that's what that day is for. It's for catching up with yourself and spending some time in meditation. I would recommend meditation on a daily basis. And I'll come to that now. So, my 11th point would be practice being present. And the best way I have found down the years to practice being present is to, do some meditation. Now, the meditation is going to improve your sleep. It's going to reduce your stress levels. It's going to improve your relationship because you're going to be able to focus more. And that is simply what it is. The meditation is a tool that we can use to help us learn to focus our mind more and to be present more, to be present with everything in our lives, and to be able to also stop and think before we react. It's that pause before we react can improve our mental health and our emotional health, and get us deciding on what we truly want and desire in our lives. It allows us to connect with our inner self and who we really are. So practice being present is very, very important. The next point is positive media, to watch what you're watching. As somebody said, we aren't just what we put in our mouths and what we eat, what we consume. It's also what we consume visually and, orally. So, or orally, I should say, what we are hearing. And, social media brings a lot of pressure. The news can be negative, let's face it. That's what they put up there. They put up negativity all the time. It's very good to keep informed. I agree. But there has to become a time when you say, okay, there are other things out there that are more positive. Maybe we need to take a break from social media. Maybe we need to take a break from the news, and just reconnect with a little bit more positivity and make sure our positivity is up there so that we can take the constant battering that we can get from all these media sources. So reviewing where you're getting your media is, something worthwhile investigating, particularly if you feel your emotional and mental health needs bolstering, but also needs a bit of a declutter. I mean, think about it. What's going in is going to keep swirling around up there. You may not be aware of it, but it is going to just keep going and going, and it'll be on a subconscious level, and that impacts our emotions, our thoughts, and how we behave, and our environment. So think about it. Now, the last 3 points, I'm going to fly through them quickly because I am aware that this is going on for very long, this video. So build your team of supporters, and I've talked about that at length before. As I said at the start of the video, decluttering your physical space, doing it one step at a time, but you have to do it for you and for no one else, is very, very beneficial to your mental and emotional health as well. And reviewing your finances. And why I bring up finances is finances can be one of the biggest stresses that we have in our lives. So if you need help with finances, please reach out to organisations such as MABS, which is the Money Advisory Bureau service in Ireland. But there'll be an organisation similar in your country, wherever you're living. So this blog has gone on for way too long this morning, and I realise that. Do check out the blog. A lot of questions, a lot of activities in there for you to try and, think about. What I talk about here This morning is only just some of it, so do check it out. It's at www.deborahbyrnepsychologyservices.com, and I will see you all again next week. And there's a new blog out on Monday as usual at 10 o'clock. And if anybody needs a boost and they want that positivity, I do a series called Your Daily Motivation, which comes out every morning at 9 o'clock. So if you do check it out, if you wanted something to boost your mental health and you wanted to read something a bit more positive, that is somewhere. It's a positive piece of media you can start reading. And I'll say good morning. Thank you all for listening again, and I'll see you next Saturday. Goodbye.